This is a comic review of Navy Combat. Now this is issue 18, and this came out in June 1958. So it's a few years before Fantastic Four #1. It's part of the Atlas period. Obviously you've got Navy Combat, there's no mention of MC or Marvel Comics etc. on this. And if you turn the page, then is part of Manvis Publications. Obviously part of the Timely / Atlas / Marvel. And my copy of course is falling to pieces, so while I'm doing this quick review, it probably fall apart even more. So you got the, of course, initial advert there you always get with these sort of things. All aboard a common ship, and you've got quite a lot of stories, obviously, the Navy. Now it says here, dedicated to valiant ships and courageous men of the United States Navy, and all the stories are generally Navy stories. Though, to be honest, they didn't continue with that all the way through. Some of the stories are slightly different from that. So you've got this initial story. Unfortunately, it doesn't include the artist, though it does include the job code of 0242. They often did that. And you've got that initial story on board a common ship. So you'd have that initial story, and they were often only like 4 or 5 pages. The artwork's fine, but I must admit, I am not familiar with the artist. I'm not very good in terms of telling, but he always had these stories as well. Report from Korea. And you had less than 50 minutes, and you've got obviously because of course for second class mail or whatever it was, there was some sort of mail approach that being obviously in the UK, I have no idea about that. So, and draw me, you may win a $430 scholarship, pretty good. We prowl the seas for revenge, and this is by Paul Ryman, who of course later on was in Marvel Comics, and you've got this initial story, and I think this is quite a good lot. They're Japs, and you've obviously got the storyline with the Japs raining down lots of missiles and things, and well, you obviously got lots of, and then you've got the conclusion. Again, it's only a quick story, but all these stories are generally quite well told. Very quick story. You get the introduction to the various characters, and you got lots of a bit of action, a bit of this and a bit of that, and all resolved at the end, which is fine in the story. And you'd have, like in this, 4 stories, and it's 10 cents. Now, I don't know how popular this comic was, Navy Combat. I'm certain it was quite popular. And obviously issue 18. You never tell with a lot of these ones. Of course, a lot of these sort of Atlas comics, there was lots of titles that would be blah, 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 and then would be finish at end 16, and then you have like 17, 18 would be a different name or something. I think that happened like they did with Timely and things. So always confused in terms of was there early issues? I don't know. This one is slightly odd because Squadron Leader. Now, I have to say that the artwork and the stories are not in the same league as the EC Comics. EC Comics ones, I think they were the best war comics, Harvey Kurtzman, etc. They were classic, but they still were pretty good stories. And this one is by John Forte. But this one actually is slightly odd because instead of Squadron Leader, it's actually more slightly, because it's more planes. So it's not really Navy, unless Navy obviously does have planes on their various ships, but just slightly odd that obviously leaving the aircraft carrier there. I love the fact you got here, you get a real mobile tank, only $4.98. I don't know how well built it was, but large enough for 2 kids, but can be handled by 1, it says. Gigantic size. God, I love the massive. It's got an intercom system, revolving turret, elevating 75mm cannon, range finders, real periscope permits you to see the, I suppose it didn't have like nuclear bombs on board. Put the lot in. Wow. I have to say, over 6 feet long as well. That's pretty impressive. Anyway, you got that story. Strike by Night. Well, actually saying, I said that there was 4 stories. It seems to be 5. So I was completely wrong there. Strike by Night. You got another story. This one is, unfortunately, quite a lot of these ones, they didn't always include the artist's name. And I mean, obviously people now look at it and go, oh, that's work of XYZ. I would not be able to say. I don't know who the colourists were, or who the letterer was. No idea. But I'm certain people will look at it and say, that is by XYZ. So you've got this thing, and then you've got the main, obviously, the story. And then you've got this one. It's very odd. The Fight for Freedom, Backfire. And there's no actual Americans appearing in this. It's all set for the Chinese story. So you've got this sort of, it's very unusual. Very unusual. Yeah. Anyway, it's well done as well. And so that's the end of that. Now, these books never would feature, maybe they did, but I've never seen many, where you would have lots and lots of pictures or information about the other comics, as if they wanted to sort of like never to say or mention the other comics. Very odd. You would have thought internal advertising would be more prominent, but quite often when I pick up these sort of issues, these war comics, you would think that I've never seen much, any sort of other information about other war comics they've got, or what other comics Atlas were bringing out at the time. Very odd. I love all the adverts at the back as well. The good old, this one, treasure chest of fun, throw your voice, etc. Miniature radio, rubber snakes, etc. Black eye jokes, atomic smoke bomb. I thought they'd have some mention of atomic smoke bomb. So foaming sugar and things. Black chewing gum. So I think these are great. I love these old issues. My copy's very tatty, and generally you can pick up these sort of issues quite cheap in very poor quality state like this. Obviously, most people like to have more mint condition, but I'm quite happy with my comics to be fairly tatty and obviously ripped and torn in quite a few places. It's been well loved, is the best way of putting this. So, aboard a common ship, Navy Combat, issue 18.